Today, we have with us the 10th generation model of what is the world's best-selling premium Android phone series. The new Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus isn't here to break any new records in terms of smartphone tech. However, it aims to provide its owners with a very wholesome smartphone experience. So, does it succeed? Well, let's find out. The S10 debuts a brand new design language for Samsung's flagship phones. Granted, it doesn't look much different from the S9 and S8 before it, but incredibly slim bezels, new colors, and that all-new Infinity O punch hole panel ensure that it looks different and fresh. The display on the S10 Plus is a 6.4-inch dynamic AMOLED panel which is curved from both sides. As you'd expect, the display is very vivid, the colors are bright, and it's great for media consumption. So the thing that immediately grasps your attention is that giant hole punch cutout on the upper right corner. In case of the S10 Plus, it's a big pill-shaped cutout because it has to accommodate two cameras. I personally believe that the regular dot-sized cutout on the S10 and the S10e look much better than this one because that layout is a lot less intrusive. However, I know many of you will find even this big punch hole cutout better than a notch. Since looks are subjective, it can vary upon your taste. If you're not a fan of that hole punch cutout on the right, the good news is that internet is full of very cool wallpapers which can successfully disguise that cutout in a very creative way. One annoying thing is that whenever you try to consume content on full screen mode, by default the setting is as such that all the content stays below that notch cutout. So it creates a giant top bezel on the phone screen. Thankfully though, it can be changed in the settings and you should totally do it. The S10 and S10 Plus are also the world's first phones to come with an ultrasonic in-display fingerprint scanner which has been made by the famous chip maker Qualcomm. During my usage, I found this scanner to be quite reliable and much more dependable than the optical in-display fingerprint scanners that you find on most other phones. However, it's still not as fast as a physical capacitive fingerprint scanner, but it's definitely a step in the right direction and you can totally live with it. The S10 Plus has three rear cameras: a primary wide-angle sensor, an ultra-wide-angle sensor, and a telephoto sensor with 2x optical zoom. Now this very triple camera setup is fast becoming the norm on most 2019 flagship phones. And it's a good thing because it allows you to take three very different photographs of the same scene. Here, have a look. So the primary camera on the S10 Plus is the very same 12 megapixel unit with variable aperture that we saw on the Note 9 and the S9 Plus from last year. Now, as it turns out, the camera takes very well detailed and sharp photographs with wide dynamic range. However, typical of Samsung smartphones, the photographs come out to be oversaturated for that added sharpness. Now this is gonna be okay with most of you out there, but I know a few of you who prefer more true to life colors. In this case, that's not going to happen. Nighttime photographs are also quite well detailed with a very low level of noise. However, even though there's a dedicated night mode on the phone, you cannot trigger it manually. The phone will itself decide if it's dark enough for the night mode to work, and that's going to be pretty annoying for many of you out there. The second camera on the S10 Plus is a 16 megapixel ultra-wide sensor with an f2.2 aperture. Now this sensor has a field of view of 123 degrees, which means that it can take some pretty awesome landscape shots. However, do keep in mind that this sensor does not have autofocus, nor is it stabilized, so you have to be careful while taking your photographs. The third camera is the 12 megapixel telephoto sensor, which is capable of giving you 2x lossless zoom. Now we've seen the very same sensor on the Note 9 from last year. This sensor can provide some pretty okay photographs, if not amazing. However, do keep in mind that this cannot work in very dimly lit scenarios. So, if you try to zoom in very dark situations, the phone will use the digital zoom from the primary camera to give you a shot. Up front, the phone has two cameras, a 10 megapixel primary selfie shooter and an 8 megapixel depth sensor. Selfies come out to be pretty mediocre by flagship phone standards. I was especially disappointed by the portrait mode photographs because those pics looked very cloudy and there was a reasonable loss of detail there. It just makes me wonder if the secondary 8 megapixel depth sensor was required at all because it does not do a very good job anyway. The Galaxy S10 series in India is powered by Samsung's own Exynos 9820 chipset. Granted, this chip is slightly below the Snapdragon 855 and 812 Bionic when it comes to raw benchmarks. However, in real life, it's very hard to notice the difference. All you have to know is that performance is top-notch and flagship worthy. All heavy apps load up pretty quickly and all the demanding games run on the highest setting without any problem at all. Our test unit with 8 GB of RAM was very good at multitasking as well. However, if you've got over ₹1,00,000 to spare, you can get the top-end model with 12 GB of RAM. But seriously, 12 GB of RAM on a phone? The phone runs on Samsung's new One UI software, which makes for a very smooth and stutter-free user experience. However, Samsung phones in the past have been notorious for slowing down over time. So let's just hope that this new software changes everything for good. Moving on, the phone has a big 4100 mAh battery, so you need not worry about running out of charge by the end of the day. Unless of course you're a heavy gamer or a heavy multimedia consumer, in which case no battery capacity is big enough for you anyway. There is a problem though. Even though the S10 Plus technically supports fast charging, this fast charging standard is an outdated one with a maximum power capacity of 15 watts. Now, rival companies like Huawei and Oppo are offering 40 watts and 50 watts of fast charging nowadays, which means that the S10 Plus will charge faster only than an iPhone. In the world of Android, it's one of the slowest charging phones out there. Other nice to have features such as IP68 water and dust resistance, wireless charging, that brand new wireless power share, as well as stereo speakers are all present. Special mention must be made about the presence of that good old 3.5mm headphone jack. It goes on to prove that Samsung actually cares about its customers. To sum it up, the S10 Plus is a typical Samsung all-rounder that does a few things brilliantly and other things quite well. Obviously, it's not perfect, and we strongly believe that its front camera could have been better and the charging speeds could have been faster. However, other than these two faults, it's actually pretty hard to find a problem with this phone. Now, it's not affordable by any means, but it's a flagship phone and flagships are not meant to be affordable anyway. So, the S10 Plus is as good as a premium phone experience can get in 2019. And if you're in the market for buying such a phone, you should definitely consider this one. That's it for now. Thanks a lot for watching. And if you like our content, make sure you subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Also, please visit our website every day for your daily fix from the world of cars, bikes and tech. Bye.